child, Corey Micciolo, died on April 2nd, 2021. Let's get you back into court with more impact statements from Corey's family.
And again, you can either provide us with your full name or just your initials.
Sure. Vito Micciolo.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Corey's grandfather. Thank you. My daughter has a letter that my youngest daughter that she it's too emotional to read, so I'm going to read it, and it's something that I believe in strongly in her words. Your Honor, I am Corey Micciolo's aunt. I am writing this victim impact letter and asking that you give Christopher the maximum sentence possible for the following reasons. To start off, I was very involved in Corey's life from the day he was born, as all of us were. Corey's death at the hands of Chris, a person that was supposed to love him, had left a hole in the hearts of all his family, including myself. I can assure you that Corey was always happy and loved child, up until the day Christopher entered his life. I was there the day Corey was dropped off by Christopher for the very first visit. I remember that Corey went to the room when he got home, and I noticed his lip was swollen. Upon asking him what happened, he told me his father slapped him. This goes to show Chris's intentions from the very first visit. Chris immediately chose to exert power, control, and violence to establish fear in Corey, instead of showing love, caring, established respect between them. During Christopher's visitations, I was often given the painful job of being the one to give Corey to the DCP&P worker. Many times when he showed up, he would hide in the closet and beg not to go, to the point of having a panic attack. He would tell me how scared he was of his dad and to please not make him go. As much as I wanted to tell him he didn't have to go, I didn't have a choice in the matter. Sadly, this continued for the rest of Corey's life, very short life. This is the painful reality of what Corey and my entire family had to deal with every single time he was forced to see Christopher. I think it's only fair that Christopher has to finally face the consequences of his actions. The jury of his peers found him guilty, and I urge you to make him remain in prison for the maximum amount of time possible under the law. Corey didn't have a choice and wasn't shown any mercy. So either should Chris be given a choice of shown any mercy. I would go on and tell you stories. I could go on and tell you stories about the abuse Corey unfortunately had to endure. I truly hope you heard enough during the course of the trial and will render a significant sentence that forces Chris to understand the magnitude of his actions and deters others from abusing innocent children. Thank you for your time, Corey's aunt, Nicole Micciolo. And I just want to add that for me and the times I spent with Corey, how he was trained to not say anything because he knew the ramifications. He couldn't tell me that was happening. I wanted him to tell me because I wanted to try to address it. I did try to address it with DCP&P. I made the phone calls, but he was definitely afraid of this guy. And in my short amount of times interacting with Chris, he's definitely got a very bad anger streak in him and a hate streak in him. So like I said, and like she said, please, you know, what he said is not true. He's a very hurtful person. He's very mean. And if he has a chance to do it again, he will do it again. So thank you, sir.
Thank you for your comments, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Lento.
Your Honor, I believe that Corey's grandmother would also like to address the court.
Hi, ma'am. Thank you. Please watch your step. And you can either give us your full name or just your initials.
Rebecca Micciolo, Corey's GMA.
Thank you, ma'am.
Your Honor, I want to start by thanking you for allowing me to address you today. I will not stand here and tell you that I forgive this monster, because I don't, and I will never. You'll never hear those words come out of my mouth. The actions of this man have greatly affected my life, the lives of my 2 daughters, my 2 sons, and my granddaughter, and 19,000 others from around the world, including Corey's teachers and doctors. On April 2nd, 2021, this man lost control, and he beat my grandson, and he denied him medical attention for several hours, only taking him to the hospital by car when Corey was within an hour of death, and leaving him to die with only a nurse and hospital staff around him, denying my daughter and myself to be with Corey, and denying Corey the comfort of having people who loved him with him as he took his last breath. This is not a man who should be shown mercy. My daughter slept in my bed many nights since Corey was murdered because she was afraid to be alone. We have nightmares. I see that treadmill video in my nightmares. That video that this monster sat in this courtroom and watched and didn't shed a tear, not 1 ounce of remorse. I'm being treated for several mental health disorders since Corey was murdered: PTSD, nightmare disorder, depression and anxiety. I'm on several medications to get through the day. I can't work. I'm no longer living, Your Honor. I'm existing. Your Honor, this man took advantage of a 16-year-old child when he was 21. He used alcohol and drugs, and Corey was conceived as a result. Corey was the dirty little secret that Chris never wanted anyone to know about. He demanded an abortion. He met Corey when he came home from the hospital. He knew Corey existed, but hid the truth from his family for years. None of the Gregors wanted Corey. David Gregor told me Corey should have been aborted. This man has a long history of alcohol abuse, 2 DUIs, drug abuse, domestic violence resulting in a restraining order, and child abuse that started long before he had visitations with Corey. He abused an ex-girlfriend's son while they were living in the Gregor home in Monroe Township. The DCP&P case was closed after the girl moved out of state. The system failed Corey, but Chris Gregor and his family also failed Corey. This man has never had to answer for any bad behavior. It seems it always went away somehow. Your Honor, my life will never be the same. Corey was wanted, loved, and doted upon by my family. We enjoyed watching and helping Brianna raise him. I have difficulty going into a store and seeing little boy clothes and toys that Corey would have loved. In September, when everyone is preparing their kids to go back to school, I wonder what backpack or shoes Corey would have chosen. I can't go to my nephew's house or my great-nephew's birthday parties because seeing them makes me sad. Corey should be at those parties. I find myself looking at kids who are the age Corey would have been, and I wonder what Corey would look like now. I cry several times a day. My physical appearance has changed. My health has declined. I've aged. I'm angry, sad, bitter, and mostly I'm broken. This man has shown no remorse as he sat through the trial. I watched every second, and he didn't shed a tear for Corey. He's had discussions with fellow inmates about wanting Brianna to be killed. I'm sure he doesn't think we heard about that, but with social media, things do get out. This is not a man who can be rehabilitated. My family lives in fear, wondering if he will attempt to have my daughter killed, because we all know what he's capable of. My granddaughter visits her brother's grave and sits on the ground.
All right, we're watching the victim impact statement of Rebecca Micciolo, Corey Micciolo's grandmother. You know, we've all seen that treadmill video and we're shocked by it. Rebecca Micciolo sees it in her nightmares. We're going to hear the rest of her statement, and then we're going to hear the statement of Corey's own mother, Brianna